Hello and welcome back. If you're new here and you don't know my face, my name is Stephanie Jean. This is my channel where I like to talk about stuff on the internet. It has been a very long time since I've uploaded something. I have moved. I have an 8-month-old child. I am still in school. My husband's deployed. I have more tattoos. It's been a while. With the new year, I thought we would jump in and do a good old-fashioned January wrap-up / February TBR. I also started a bookstagram account for those of you who are interested at simply.booked. I will have it linked down below in the description box. But for now, let's just get into it because I want to try and finish filming this before the kid wakes up from her nap. So let's start. I have a reading journal. Isn't this sticker cute? So I will be referencing this. There's only one book on my January TBR list that I have not finished, so I'll talk about that one first. I'm about 20% through this, and it's January 29th as I'm recording this. So this is Entering Hecate's Garden, and it's basically about, well, just what it says. It's about plants. I'm trying to, now that I have a house and a backyard, I want to actually grow a garden and get more familiar with my own botanicals and like create my own teas and things like that. It's a vibe. Anyway, haven't finished that one yet. I don't know if I will finish it. Editing Stephanie here to say I did finish Entering Hecate's Garden and I gave it 4 stars. It lost a star because the organization was really weird. But yeah, finished it. Anyway, first I have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I gave this 4 stars. I listened to it as an audiobook on Libby. The Inheritance Games is kind of like Knives Out meets young adult fiction. I don't know. Some random girl inherits a bunch of money and her versus the family of the guy who died. I only gave it 4 stars because there was some questions in the book from the beginning of the book that don't get answered throughout the whole book. Like you have to read the second one, I guess, to find out what happens. I mean, I'm gonna read the second one because I need to know what happens and I need to know the answer to these questions, but I don't like when books do that. Like if you have a question in the beginning, answered at the end, and you can come up with a new question for the second one, like even halfway through to the second one, but it was good. I mean, obviously I gave it 4 stars. Then we have Jubal, Sackett by Lamour. I gave this 3 stars. This is like a Western. I guess Lamour is like the James Patterson of Western novels. My friend Trisha actually recommended this to me. She exclusively reads Westerns and she said this one was her favorite, and I did enjoy it. It was entertaining enough. I just am not really into Westerns. I mean, I gave it 3 stars, but it was really like 2.5. How many times are they gonna sit in this freaking cave and ask the same question, what will you do when winter's over? Like he's already said like 12 times what he's gonna do when winter's over. Like if this is your idea of flirting. That one was also an audiobook from Libby. Next we have Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. And I gave this 5 stars. If you can't tell by all these tabs, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. But it was so, guys, it was so good. I'm gonna find a quote I wrote down. Obviously, it's a Greek mythology retelling. I obviously had a lot of quotes that I really liked in it. But one of the ones that I want to share with you is on page 179. I would not let a man who knew the value of nothing make me doubt the value of myself. Jennifer Saint's writing, honestly, it was just so poetic and beautiful. Like, you know how in ancient Greece, stories were shared through oration, like they were told to each other. This book reads like it could be read aloud very well. Like it could easily be something that you heard instead of read. Does that make sense? I don't think there will ever be a Greek mythology retelling I don't absolutely devour. Like I devoured and yet savored this. That was also the first 5-star read of the year. We have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I gave this 4 stars. This I still have my issues with this because I know enemies to lovers is a very famous, very popular trope, and that is what this is. And I don't think I like it as much as I like friends to lovers. I gave it 4 stars though, because it is just really good. Moving right along to our second 5-star read of the year, Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. Would you count this as a retelling of Twilight? Like it is Twilight from Edward's point of view. It is Twilight. So is it a retelling? We have to give Stephanie Meyer props for the fact that she wrote Twilight and then rewrote Twilight in Life and Death for the 10-year anniversary, and then rewrote Twilight as Midnight Sun. Like, how many times are you gonna tell the same story in different ways? I love it. I'm a Twihard, I'm trash for it. I've always been Team Edward. This book was comical to me to read, very entertaining, and it honestly, it felt like I was reading Twilight again for the first time, which was just awesome for me. So 5 stars. Then I listened to The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I gave it 4 stars because there was just a lot. There's just a lot going on in this book. Part 1, honestly, like it's broken up into 6 parts, and part 1 had so much exposition, which I recognized was important because it's like a high fantasy novel. It docked down a star for me. It went from a 5 to a 4 star just from part 1 because it was just... And the baby's awake, so I will come back and hopefully finish this later. Okay, we're back. I moved her high chair right here, and she's got some teething crackers, so let's hope I can get through this. Where was I? Priory of the Orange Tree, check. Okay, then I read The Great Gatsby, and now I'm reading it again, even though I just read it like last week, because I had an idea for a YouTube video based on this novel, so we're rereading it. I gave it 4 stars. I don't know why I gave it 4 stars. Honestly, this might actually be a 5-star read, but I gave it 4 stars in the moment. I will be doing a deep dive video on this novel, hopefully by March. We'll see. I have to go through, get all the textual evidence, and then obviously have to film it at some point. And then another one from Libby, The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I gave this 3 stars. Mostly because I felt it was very overhyped. I have a friend who couldn't even finish it because she found out that it was like a Kylo Ren / Rey fanfiction, and she was like, the female main character is so basic. Like, of course she likes pumpkin spice lattes. Could she be any more basic? And now the dog wants to go outside. Hold on. Come on. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Mostly the second half of it. We have The Invisible Life of Addy Larue. This was a reread for me. I read it for the first time in January of last year. So I was like, I want to reread some of my favorite books this year. That's one of my overall reading goals for the year, is to reread my favorites, make sure they're still my favorites. And this one, I love it, did not disappoint. I also had an idea for a video for this book, so I have to reread it again to find those textual evidences, to find that textual evidence needed to support my thesis for that video essay. Obviously 5 stars. All right, and the last one for my January wrap up. I actually started this book in June of last year, and I just kept putting it off for other books. It's Avengers: The Extinction Key by Greg Keyes, and this is the prequel to the Avengers video game that came out after the first Avengers movie. I gave it 3 stars because I did really enjoy it, but I don't personally enjoy action sequences as books. I felt like this was trying to do what an MCU fight scene does, where it cuts from what Cap is doing to what Thor is doing to what Iron Man's doing, which when I'm watching a movie is great because it helps with like the time keeping of things, that this is happening while this is happening while this is happening, and my brain can handle that in a movie, but my brain can't handle that with a book. Didn't love that, although the whole premise behind this book is that the 12 zodiac signs are like the bad guys, and being the like witchy girl that I am, I thought that was really cool. And so that is it for my January wrap up. Did you eat all your crackers already? You ate it all? Wow. Now let's dive in to the TBR. I also subscribed to Book of the Month towards the end of January. So I have the January book, and I'm gonna say that first, even though I'll probably also add my February book to the TBR, but my TBR is also really long. So let me just, one thing at a time. Jumping into my February TBR, first we have Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. This was my book of the month for January, but I got it like 2 days ago, and I didn't want to try and fit it in when I was trying to finish up Entering Hekate's Garden. So this is on my February TBR. And I don't know when my February book will arrive. So I don't know if I'm gonna add that one to my TBR or just put it off until March. It just kind of depends. And then we have Bridgerton by Julia Quinn, The Duke and I from the Bridgerton series. It's the first one. It's what season 1 of the show is based off of, and season 2 is coming out in March, so I want to read this. And then in March, I want to read The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is the second one. And so that's on my list as well. I loved the show. Never read any of the books. Next, we have These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This is, all I know about this is that it's a, you good? Romeo and Juliet retelling. That's all I know about it. So, and then we have, I don't know if this is a retelling or if it's a prequel. I think it's a prequel, but it's Nick by Michael Ferris Smith. Obviously it goes with The Great Gatsby, so I need to finish up my reread of that so I can read this. Honestly, I bought that book, and that's why I read The Great Gatsby this month, so I could read that next month. And in that same vein, I'm also borrowing A Certain Appeal by Vanessa King, and that is supposed to be a Pride and Prejudice retelling. I also have on here, these are all going to be borrowed from Libby. The Love Con by Cerisa Glass, which is supposed to be a love story between cosplayers. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, because I've never read anything by Colleen Hoover. A Blind Date for the Marine by Jess Mastrokos. I read the first one in this series, which is A Match for the Marine. These are on, this one is on Kindle Unlimited. And I really liked it. It's a military romance. And then obviously I want to finish Entering Hekate's Garden, and if I do finish this, then I also want to read The Beginner's Guide to Alchemy by Sarah Dern. Although I might not get to this, even though this one's really short, because I need to finish this one first. So we'll see. And that is it for my wrap-up slash TBR. Have you read any of these books? What are your thoughts on these books? What books should I read? Are you interested in talking to me more? Are you interested in talking to me about books more often than we currently have been having this conversation? Because right now this conversation has been very one-sided, just gonna be honest. You can follow me at simply.booked on Instagram. That's my bookstagram account. My main is at p_StephanieJean, and that is also where you can find me on Twitter. And that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Get it, wrap up, because we did a... All right, I'm done. Love you, bye.